ProFlowRadio.com.
ProFlowRadio.com. Internet Inferno. On demand and live Pro Indie Audio.
You are now tuned into the Pro Flow for Show, internationally syndicated. Act like you know. With your host, Mr. Mad Max. Pro Flow for Show. www.maxheat.com.
Pro Flow for Show. Wireless phone interview feature presentation. Pro Flow for Show. Pro Flow for Show. Pro Flow for Show.
Check this out.
This call is now being recorded.
I should have recorded all that, but anyhow.
Yeah, I think it was MySpace now that I think about it. And
yeah.
do you remember, I think there was some other message board or something, but I remember complaining about this one PR firm. It was called Rainmaker Publicity.
Yeah.
Because they screwed me over way back in the day. And I kind of seem to remember talking to you about it, too, because we were, like, talking about it on some message board or something.
Yeah. Right? Okay. I don't doubt that at all. I know that we have a definite history, that's for sure. I watched you do your thing for a long time. You know, you've always been a pioneer to a certain extent, in my opinion. When you started out, you know, we met only in the beginning of when, like, you know, this online thing was just really starting to get started. You know, everybody was just getting introduced to the term podcasting, and I don't even think they really called it back then. I mean, we were just on the internet trying to get heard. You know, you want to get your music heard. I wanted to be heard. You know, we crossed paths that way. You've expressed a lot of different things to me about, you know, the music industry and all kinds of stuff, man. So, you know, I don't remember everything specifically, but I definitely want let the audience know who I'm speaking with. Basically, you know, what company you represent. You know, we just give them a brief description up front, and we can get into the depth of what's going on.
Sure. Well, my name is Adam Thick, and I live in Michigan, and my company is Extreme Kidnapping. And a lot of people, you know, have heard of it, but, you know, some people, it might be new to them. So what we do is we provide realistic kidnapping adventure scenarios. So basically, we actually kidnap you and put you through a sort of kidnapping scenario, you know, something that can potentially happen in real life, or, you know, maybe you have your own scenario in mind, but whatever it is, we can probably do it. I mean, we've done some really pretty crazy kidnapping. Kidnapping. So, I mean, we've done pretty much, you know, everything you could think of in terms of, you know, pretending to be different characters and, you know, posing as these guys or those guys. I mean, we've pretty much done it all. It's really only limited by our clients' imaginations, you know, and their budget.
Of course, that's always a good thing to bring up. And where can they find you guys on the internet at?
ExtremeKidnapping.com.
Pretty simple. Basically, you guys of course, everything can be found easily, I'm sure, through Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff, the website.
Well, we have a Facebook page. I also have a Facebook page, Adam Thick, and then there's the Extreme Kidnapping page. But I don't use Twitter. I just never got into it.
Yeah, okay, that's cool too. It's all good. So you guys you said Detroit or Michigan, you said?
Yep, metro area, Detroit.
Okay, Detroit, that's what's up. Okay, that's great. Now, I don't know if other states are involved in the Extreme Kidnapping thing, but are there other companies other than yours that are doing this right now?
There's no other companies in the United States that are doing it. There was one other group, and they were in New York, and they actually had started at the same time we did. Within like a 6-month span, we started at the same time, so we both kind of got credit for being like the co-pioneers of the kidnapping for entertainment industry. Okay. But
I consider you to be actually that individual. I'll tell you the audience for real. It's Adam Thick for real. He started this, that's for sure. Because I remember when you brought it up, you were the first person I heard about it, and when I hear about it again, they're looking for you. So hey, you know, I mean, this is yours.
Yeah, they did it. You know, like I said, we both started at the same time, but I think they kind of fell off, and I don't know how long ago they fell off, but they just, I guess they just stopped doing it. I mean, and honestly, I used to get a lot of their clients, and their clients said, you know, your services are like apples and oranges. I mean, this is the real deal over here, you know. I'm like, so that was always gratifying to know that we did it better than our only other competitor in the country. So, but right now, the only other place that I know of that does this, there's a company in France that does this as well.
Okay. So, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say that's no competition for us because they're on the other side of the planet, you know.
Yeah, I understand that. If they want if they want this extreme experience, they had to contact you in Detroit.
Pretty much.
That's what's up. Now, I have a couple questions basically about, like, you know, kind of like the background of yourself to a certain extent. I met you do the rap. You know, I know you had a few albums that you put out, and you were submitting them online, you know, around the online internet, just, you know, to get yourself started, get heard, you know, get those dreams moving and everything. But at some point, you told me that you stopped doing music. Are you still doing music, or you stopped for sure?
Yeah, I definitely retired from music back in 2006. I had a nice run with it. You know, I went from like 98 to 2006. I released 4 records on my own. So completely independent the whole time.
Right.
You know, I achieved a little local notoriety, got a little airplay here and there, and managed to get my own stuff in a chain store, you know, throughout Michigan and Ohio.
Right.
Harmony House, it was called back then. And
okay.
And then I actually made a brief momentary appearance on BET for being one of the most notorious rappers in the country. But, you know, well, it was, yeah, I'll tell you about it in a second. But that was basically the culmination of my whole rap career. And I kind of saw that, you know, I wasn't gonna be that guy. I wasn't gonna go to the next level. And a lot of musicians and artists, you know, it's all, you know, it's good to follow your dream too, and that's always important. But there comes a time of being practical, and for me, I saw the writing on the wall. I knew I was never going to get to that next level. You know what I mean? And I didn't want to be 38-year-old rapping guy. You know what I mean? I didn't want to be that guy. You know, so I was like, you know, I'm just going to stick with what got me paid, and that's, you know, extreme kidnapping. So.
So you were doing extreme kidnapping the whole time you were rapping, basically?
Not the whole time. I had to release 2 records before I started kidnapping. So I came up with the kidnap. Well, I mean, I launched the business in 2002, and I think that same year I released my second record. So it was. I had already done a couple records before I decided to start the kidnapping, and then once I started the kidnapping, it did get me a lot more attention for my rap. Subsequently, the BET thing occurred because it was, you know, this Detroit rappers kidnapping people, so that, you know, made me quote unquote notorious. But the company they put me in was just horrible. I still was appalled by who they put me up there with. The feature had the nation's most notorious rappers. Okay, it sounds good at first, right? So, but then they put me up there with Big Lurch, who was a cannibal in prison for cannibalizing somebody, and the South Park Mexican, who was in prison for like pedophilia or rape or something, you know? Yeah. And I'm like, wait a second. Now, hold on a second. Both these guys are in prison for real crimes. I'm running a legitimate business here that's legal. Wow. You know? That's crazy. That wasn't totally fair, but, you know, that was my little BET moment, you know?
Man, that is so crazy. Man, that's how the industry do you, though. Yeah, I can understand that. So, you know, why do you think the extreme kidnapping service that you guys offer is such a popular thing? You know, because some people will look at it and say, wow, this is, like, really extreme, you know. But why do you think it works?
It's just something unusual. It's something that, you know, isn't likely to ever really happen to you in your day-to-day life. And it kind of builds on, you know, like, a lot of people, you know, played when you were a kid, you played games, you played cops and robbers, you played this and that, maybe you played role-playing games, who knows, but you never really get tired of playing games, even as an adult, but the games change, and this is a way for adults to play a more extravagant sort of game that feels real, complete with thrills, chills, adrenaline, fear, the whole range of human emotions can come into this. So it's a much more sophisticated sort of game that I've created, and it's interactive. It's interactive. So everyone's involved in it. So right. I think that's a good way for people to look at it instead of just focusing on the kidnapping, and they think, well, who would ever want to be kidnapped? That's crazy. That's they look at what they see in the news, people getting kidnapped and their hands getting cut off in Mexico and stuff like that. Right. And they think that they somehow equate it to that. It's not like that. You got to think a little deeper into it and realize that it's an elaborate game, Right. But then, we also have clients that want to do this for security issues, because we have people that, they work abroad, they work in foreign countries, they work in hot zones, they work in emerging markets, and they are at real risk for being kidnapped. So a lot of these people want to find out what it would be like to be kidnapped. How would they react? Would they manage to keep it together, or would they lose their shit? You know what I mean? Some people want to know in advance before they get in a situation like that, and then a lot of these people want to know how to react in a situation like that. So we give them a report afterwards, what you did right, what you did wrong, what you should have done.
That's awesome.
So yeah, because I've taken
into perspective. Yeah,
security.
Never thought about that.
Oh yeah, we get clients like that too, and I actively really want those clients, because that's I'm security consulting these days. I took some anti-kidnapping courses, kidnapping prevention courses as well. So I am certified in preventing kidnapping as well as kidnapping people.
I feel you, man. That's what's up, though. That's great, man. So was it hard to get the momentum of the people behind you, to get involved with them, ordering services from you? Were people resistant to the extreme kidnapping, service?
Well, see, the thing, in the very beginning, when I started this company, I knew I needed, some guys to help me get it going. I needed some henchmen, so I just recruited all my friends who, thought it was cool. They didn't really know if this was going to work or not, but they just believed in me, because they know that pretty much a lot of the stuff that I've tried in the past usually works to some extent or another. And they know that at the very least they're going to have a really good time doing it with me. You know what I mean? So I just recruited all my friends, and we started making all these kidnapping videos and practicing kidnapping on each other, so that we, got it down, so that we could be quick and efficient. And then I put my marketing plan together, and I launched the business, and it worked the way I planned it. It worked out perfectly. I couldn't have planned it any better. Press releases are 10 times better than any dollar for dollar advertising. Just remember that. Press releases are the bee's knees. Okay. So I did that, and that instantly got me nationwide attention within 24 hours of issuing my press release. Wow. And it just pyramided from there. So I had all this video footage that I'd already shot, because I knew they were going to want video footage. So, I gave it to them, and then the tidal wave of clients came at us. So we were ready to go, and it couldn't have worked out any better. I mean, it's not like I had to cultivate clients one at a time. 1,000 of them bombarded me all at once, but the problem is it was actually too much, because to plan a kidnapping, it takes, to do it right and to give these people their money's worth, it takes about a week, sometimes 2 weeks for some of these capers, and back then, I was still, trying to figure out my, all the little details of, this, that, and the other thing. So the first filter I put on everything was jobs that we'll take and jobs we won't take. And since there were so many weird jobs being offered to us, some were just blatantly illegal, you know, and others were just super weird, you know, I just put them through that filter. I was like, okay, we're not going to do that one. We're not going to do this one. We're not going to do that one. And then the ones that came out the other end were the ones that I focused on, started actually doing, you know. So here's something a lot of people don't know is that in the first 2 months of launching back in 2002, I added up all the jobs that we got and how much I would have made off of all of them. Yeah. And it was right around $50,000 for 2 months. Man. 2 months worth of jobs. 2 months. That I turned down, mind you, for one reason or another, because I had to make the decision. Okay, if I start doing all these jobs, some of them are questionable, some of them are, you know, gray area. Other ones are just flat out illegal, and some are just weird. I mean, like super fetish weird type stuff, you know.
Yeah, I can understand that totally.
And so, you know, turned all those down because I knew that if we started doing jobs like that, it'd be a slippery slope, and then you know,
real smart.
Yeah, you compromise on this one, you'll compromise a little more on that one. Pretty soon you're doing all these really sleazy jobs and stuff, and then you'll never go commercial with this, you know. And I've always wanted to go commercial with this business, this endeavor. And I knew to do that, I had to stay above board with it, you know, even at the expense of saying no to a lot of money. So, yeah, I mean, there was a lot of years where, you know, we could have done a lot more business than we did, but I kept it, you know, it paid off.
You've been on national TV for like a full week, you know. I mean, like you were on there for like a full 2 weeks, you know, basically with advertisements for Extreme Kidnapping piece. You know, I mean, I've seen it on sort of top national networks. You know, once I seen it early, I was half asleep and heard it and woke up like I only know one person who's doing that. You know, there's got to be him. You know, I'm like, so I get up and I hit you up like, what's up? Like, I jump on the bandwagon real quick. But I just when you first got started with this, it sounded so crazy to me. I was like, wow, this dude is really different, because he is doing something I've never heard of, or I mean, like who has the guts to do something like this though, for real? You know, it's like kind of says something about the person, you know, who created it. You know.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, and your gut reaction is probably the same one that almost everyone I told to about it had. You know, it's, what? You're going to do what? Right. You know? And I mean, I remember the day I told my dad I was going to start doing this. We were over at his house, and we were on the back porch. It was in the summertime. And, you know, he's sitting there. He's on his lawn chair smoking a cigarette. And I'm like, so check this out, Dad. Here's what I'm going to do. So I tell it to him, and he's like, he looks at me, and he goes, expletive. Get a fucking job. Why don't you just get a job?
You're like, right, like, okay, thanks, Dad, you know.
You know, he's like, this is crazy. Where do you come up with this stuff, you know? And, so, you know, and a lot of other people thought it was, a lot of other people thought it was crazy too, but, you know, I just knew, after seeing that movie, The Game, with Michael Douglas.
Oh, yeah.
That was the movie that inspired me, and I knew, after watching that movie, that someday that was going to work, you know. And obviously it was going to have to be on a smaller scale and more affordable to average people. And obviously I pared everything down because, you know, who can afford, you know, $50,000 adventures or, you know, crazy stuff like that. But we brought it all down and made it, you know, I just sort of focused on one aspect of it, which was the kidnapping, because, you know, that's something that's controllable, but it also allows for a lot of drama and lots of different, you know, things, variables. So that's kind of what I focused on. But, you know, it kind of goes, it's, when you hear it on the surface, it does sound crazy. But, you know, somebody smarter than me said this once: only those who attempt the absurd can achieve the impossible. And he also said it another way. He said, if at first the idea is not absurd, then there is no hope for it. That was Albert Einstein.
That's so good, though. It's so real. It's so true. It's how a person feels, you know. I mean, when you're trying to make it somehow, some way, and you feel it's impossible, and you're like, why do I do this? Because if it wasn't impossible, then why are you doing this, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel. I wanted to ask you about, you know, with handling all the recent media blitz, you know, where do you want to take your company at this point?
Well, right now we're focused on reality TV. That's our primary goal, and that was, you know, that's what we were hoping the GQ feature was going to achieve for us, and it did, because all the production companies, all of them pretty much, have, you know, come out of the woodwork, and they're trying to get us to sign with them right now. So I'm just waiting to pick the best one. I'm just taking my time. I've had the information now for 2 or 3 weeks, you know.
Awesome. That's great. Congratulations, though. You know, it's good to hear you know, a real independent success story, you know, like close to home, you know, this Midwest / East Coast area. You know, we don't get much look over here. I don't know, but
you're right.
You know, we got it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. You know, just by signing a production deal doesn't mean you automatically get a TV show.
Right.
I've actually been down this path 3 times now. And
oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, I just recently got out of a bad contract with another production company, and I was actively trying to get out of it because I knew that, you know, they would probably screw up our last chance, and I wanted to go with a really big, good company that has the resources and the, you know, the juice in the industry to actually make something happen, you know, and those were all the ones that were coming at us now. And I was stuck in this bum contract. So I managed to get out of it about a week ago. So that's great. So we're free agents now.
Free and happy, yeah.
Oh, yeah, so happy. But back in 2006, we had signed with somebody, and we came so close. I mean, not only did they get a major network to fund us, we shot a pilot, and it was so good that they actually shot extra episodes. They started shooting episodes because everyone was sure that this was going to be on TV, you know. And this was for the Fuse Network, actually financed us.
Yeah, that sounds about right too, because they definitely got that style.
Yeah. And if you recall, at that time, I was still I hadn't officially retired from rap yet. I was still doing it in 2006.
Right.
It was at the end of 2006 that I gave up on rap, you know, but earlier in the year I was still about it, you know. So, but yeah, we thought it was a done deal, but somebody up at the top of Fuse just, you know, they're like, well, you know.
Yeah.
They
That's how it is.
Yeah, it happens. I mean, and come to find out, a lot of networks shoot a lot of pilots, you know, and they only pick a couple of them. So it does happen, you know, even if they do spend a lot of money, it still happens. But
yeah. With that advice in mind, with that information in mind, what advice do you have for, you know, just anybody out here, I guess, in general, that would be maybe an artist or a person that was an artist, or, you know, trying to find a new way to make a move, or just in general with, you know, ups and downs in life and just overcoming obstacles and sticking to your goals and all that stuff.
Right. Well, that's a lot of different things, but I would say whatever you're into, if it's a business or you're an artist or an entrepreneur of some sort, just know that usually when you first start out, you know, the way you envision everything working, it's not going to work that way. In fact, you're probably going to end up taking 3 steps back for every step forward you take. But the key is perseverance. That is ultimately the key. And if you can remember nothing else, just remember you got to stick it out and just keep plugging away at it. You might not be able to do your business as big as you want at first, but as you network and make more connections and meet more people and read more stuff from other people that have already done it as big as you want to do it, learn from them. You know, you don't have to invent the wheel every time. You know what I mean? It's good to learn from people that have already walked in your footsteps, learn from their mistakes, and adopt and pick and choose what works, you know, or worked for them and apply it to your own situation. Now, you know, in my situation, we were kind of reinventing the wheel. I mean, There was no other kidnapping businesses, you know, so that was a brand new thing. But what I did to make that work so fast for me was I applied I just call it layering. Okay, like if you're trying to appeal to the media to get some kind of attention, you need to layer your story so that there's more than just one fact, you know, for them to digest. And that, for me at the time was, okay, you got this white boy rapper in Detroit that wears an octopus on his head. Okay, that's moderately interesting. Okay, but it's not interesting enough for the whole country to want to talk about it. You know, maybe people in Metro Detroit want to talk about it, but you know, maybe in Chicago no one really gives a shit. You know.
Yeah.
But now, when you have that guy with the octopus on his head start kidnapping people, now it's very interesting to everybody. So that's where the layers come in. You add layers of, you know, stuff to make it even more sensationalistic or more interesting or more, you know, whatever it is you're trying to do, I guess. But, you know, ultimately it's just sticking with it. And, you know, this will be 10 years and a couple months, 4 months or something like that.
Yeah, man. You're right about that. Well, I met you at the beginning of my time. I got about the same time just doing this grind or whatever. But I remember meeting you in the beginning, like way before everybody else and everything else, like before I even knew anything, you know, just out here.
Oh, you've been at it for a long time. I really realize that too, because I mean, I've seen your name on the internet all over the place, you know,
that's what I've been
for
doing.
music and for producing. That's mostly how I remember you, as a producer of music.
Fine with me. I'll take whatever I can get, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Man, I heard you guys heard it directly from Adam Thicke himself, ExtremeKidnapping.com, man. Do you have any other comments or like shout out, you know, to the people that help you get where you're at right now?
Well, I'd say thanks to Adam Resnick for hooking me up with Mark Kennedy. Thanks to the Extreme Kidnapping crew, Cody, Chanel, Gina, our new guy Rick, Hunter down in Oklahoma, and Sarah Lazar down in Miami. And hopefully next week I'll have some more good news for everybody.
I know that's right. So you just waiting on the time to pass and everything will work out, that's for sure. Really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to get this story out because, like you say, it's definitely due for a press release and a webpage and all that stuff. So I'm going to get it all taken care of, and as soon as I get it tightened up, I will be sending it to you. And, you know, I'm going to just do the usual, just put it on the internet, put the name on there, exclusive interview with Adam Thicke, Extreme Kidnapping. So I just appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on your show, man. I appreciate that.
My pleasure, man. Just anytime you got anything in news, you can post my pages and all that stuff. Send me stuff, I'll put it out there. You know, I have no problem promoting it because I like the look. I definitely like the look.
What kind of projects are you working on these days?
Me myself right now, you know, I've been kind of in between everything. I haven't really I'm working on anything too specific right now because, like you say, you know, we've been doing this a long time and. You know, the way I've been doing it ain't really getting me nowhere, and I've been layering a little bit here and there, but I'm obviously not doing something right. So I am in the process of putting an album together, but it's more like just a personal kind of thing, you know. It's not to get rich from, but I just want to make it like something that's better than everybody else regardless, you know. I'm still into that kind of thing, but competitive, like, you know, music making, but you know, me myself, I'm just here. I'm not really doing anything, man. Trying to figure out what I'm going to do, what my next move is going to be, or how I'm going to stay alive in this industry. That's what I'm trying to figure out right now.
Yeah, I know that feeling. I totally know that feeling. And
man, it's great.
I've actually been there a couple times. It's like, you know, and part of this last contract, I just got out of the bad one I told you about. We're off the air now, right?
I'm gonna take it off. Don't worry about it, man. Matter of fact, hold on. Let me see if I can turn it off. Hold on, let me turn it off.
All right.
If you or anyone else you know would like to have their poetry, music featured on the Pro Flow for Show, hosted by Mr. Mad Max, Check us out, www.maxheat.com. Don't be left out. Don't be the last to know. Spread the word. It's Pro Float Radio.